Democratic Majority Leader of the California State Senate, which is a big deal in the state of California. Gloria Romero joins us tonight. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Kind of amazing to read.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Your background, that you're endorsing Larry Elder, an alternative to the governor, the Democratic governor. Why are you doing that?
Really two major reasons. The first one was that I was just tired of the false narrative that was put forward that this is a right-wing conspiracy. There were 1.7 million Californians that signed that recall petition. I was one of them. So I wanted to publicly assert that this is widespread. Democrats, independents, Green, Republican, across the board. And the second major reason, really, that I decided to endorse, especially Larry Elder, was that I was tired of the rules for thee but not for me attitude of the prince of the French Laundry, who shut down our public schools, but then he sent his kids to school. And it's one where I looked at Larry's record and believe that he's our best option to really break the monopoly of special interests when it comes to education and to offer especially Latino and African American families in California school choice options. So those are the two major reasons, but there are many that I could list.
Boy, those are great reasons. I mean, California, I can say, having grown up there, had the best schools in the country. They were famously good, and now it has among the lowest performing. I mean, you've been there, I think, your whole life. How upsetting is that to people?
It's very upsetting. And when we take a look at even some polling that's going forward, 54% of Latinos are in support of the recall. Overall, especially Latino and African American families favor school choice. So this is one where if we look at the statistics today, we find that about 70% of Latino children are not even at proficiency levels when it comes to math, and that's about 80% for African American kids. But because of the way in which the schools are run, even when the state identifies a school as chronically underperforming, kids can't get out. You're zip coded there. And so, in looking at it, the powerful monopoly of the California Teachers Association, which is a major endorser of the Democratic Party and, of course, Gavin, it blocks any type of reform.
Now, you are telling the truth. I think even people who have no familiarity with California state politics or its school system can tell from what you just said that that is absolutely right and the state needs a change. And I think you are very brave for coming forward and doing this. Thank you for joining us tonight. Gloria Romero, good luck in 12 days.
Thank you.
All right, so obviously that was Gloria Romero on the Tucker Carlson show. And that's really important because now if you read the headlines, you'll see headlines out there talking about, listen, the polls are tightening, or there's waning support for this recall. People really don't want Gavin Newsom out. Let me tell you something. Here's what polls are typically do oftentimes. Polls are meant oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, to shape a narrative. And you get to bust up that narrative by showing up. That's what you have to do. You have to show up, and you have to show up big time. You can use every tool that the Democrats have in California to your advantage. They wanted ballot harvesting. Okay, ballot harvest. They go beyond the election day and voting. Okay, find some friends to vote for Elder after the election day and to vote to recall Greasy Gavin Newsom after election day. You're going to have to play their game in California. Not doing anything illegal, but you're going to have to play their game, because here's the bottom line, and I'm going to get into this. If our elections aren't free, nothing else matters. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. But you do not have a voice if we do not have free and fair elections. So Californians, this is a huge opportunity. You've heard me say this over and over again. We'll have Larry Elder on the program Tuesday of next week. We'll be out on Monday, but we'll be back Tuesday. So I look forward to that. We'll have him on in the second hour on Tuesday. So mark that down on your calendars and look forward to that. I'll look forward to that interview. Obviously, we're on the final stretch of this thing, so it'll be pretty exciting. But let's just get started on this concept. Oh, actually, first, let me go to this. James Carafano wasn't able to stay on, but here's what's going to happen with the weaponry, and we all know this, and we've heard ramblings of this, but those weapons are going to be reverse engineered. Next week, I'm going to try to get someone on the program that will specifically talk about, an expert that'll specifically talk about how China is going to be able to benefit from this, as well as play this whole Biden retreat in Afghanistan, because it is going to come back to haunt us. Oliver North said this in a recent interview with Breitbart. U.S. weapons and military equipment abandoned by the Biden administration in Afghanistan will be reverse engineered by China and Russia, and then they will be used against us and American interests. This, according to Oliver North. The Biden administration left behind some of the most sophisticated, and I'm quoting, some of the most sophisticated weapons and equipment we've ever made for the military, North stated. It's going to be reverse engineered in China. It will be reverse engineered in Russia. It will be used against us in other campaigns. North predicted that the Taliban, ISIS, and the Haqqani network would collectively become, and I quote, the best armed criminal enterprise in the history of mankind due to the Pentagon's abandonment of military equipment, our vehicles, our weaponry in Afghanistan. He also said what's happening to a lot of abandoned equipment is that they're being dragged across the border in Conex boxes and on trucks. We'll get into more of this after the break, and then I'll explain if elections aren't free, nothing else matters. We'll be back in a few.
Trending now on the Mike Gallagher Show.